Listeners be advised. The Soliloquy podcast discuss matters related to the human experience and many that are sexual in nature. Due to this, some conversations may surround triggering topics such as sexual violence, self-harm, abuse, and much more. Please be advised, a list of crisis and psychological resources will be available in the show notes of this episode. With that said, let's get started with the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention please as we go through the following safety instructions.
In the event that there is a loss of cabin pressure, oxygen mask will drop from the overhead. Place the mask over your nose and mouth. Breathe normally as oxygen is flowing even if the mask is not inflated. Be sure to adjust your own mask before helping others.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Soliloquy podcast, where we step out and speak on sexuality. This is your favorite host, Sebastian Adams. I don't know why did that come out? Hold up. This is your favorite host, Vernon T. Scott, also known as Slaytor Jackson, and for the freaky motherfuckers, Sebastian Adams. Again, Sebastian, step the motherfuck back. Like, what the hell is going on today?
Look, you just have both the identities going on, so it's intertwined.
Intertwined. I got too much. No, can we do this? Not today, Lord. Not today. So, y'all, I am joined by the wonderful Tyrell today. And when things get passionate, when things just build up, it can be something that you love so much, or it can be something that you are angry about. Sometimes you just need to release that motherfucking load. We are having a releasing the load episode today, y'all. And it's about reality TV shows. So, Tyrell, what the fuck do you have to say about reality TV?
Obviously reality TV has gone through such major transformations, but on the same end, it's definitely not the same. When I think about reality television, I'm just going to speak from my personal experience. I got into reality television. I used to watch a few episodes of The Real World, Road Rules, and stuff like that. I was a big person into the whole, y'all feel me in the comments, the whole Flavor of Love and
yes,
but it was kind of like when you think about reality TV in those days, and if you actually go back and watch some things that used to happen on those shows, the Bad Girls Club and things like that, a lot of things that used to be said would not fly in today's reality world. And I think that as I have matured in mind a little bit, so has the nature of the reality TV that I watch. Not to say that you need to be of mature mind to watch reality television, because naturally reality television is for escape purposes. So as much of an avid TV watcher as I am, I like to disassociate myself from watching my procedural dramas, my comedy and my action, to watch something that, I know is almost foolish in a lot of, some ways, but it's there. So, I don't know for anybody else that watches it out there. I am a, huge, fan of Married at First Sight. I watch the Growing Up Hip Hops. I'll tune in from time to time, depending on who they have, a Marriage Boot Camp. I do watch Naked and Afraid on Discovery. That's really a good one. And I do want to highlight my two actually favorite reality shows. They're centered on Black culture and dating. It's two shows that come on the Oprah Winfrey Network. It's called Ready to Love. That's hosted by Nephew Tommy. And the show that comes on right after is called Put a Ring on It with Dr. Nicole LaBeach. Love her. Dr. Nicole, she be dropping those gems for us guys. So definitely if you're happen to relationship reality shows that are centered on Black people, Black culture, and definitely Black culture that's not centered on ratchetness.
That's
I definitely say to tune into those two. To definitely say to tune into those two shows.
that one's a word. That's an attack too, and
Just
I'm
saying.
here for that. I'm here for the
Just,
slander. Good God, he
just saying.
said it,
Just
y'all.
saying.
He said it. But I'm with you with that. Like I will say, I loved me some flavor of whatever. I love the fact that Flavor of Love is the one that really like skyrocket the that dating reality TV stuff, because it's like before then, yeah, you had like the game shows and whatnot, but you have this man who's looking for love. What, there was something else that came out before. Was it Real World that he was on, and then he found Bridget, and then they broke up or something like that?
No, I think it was just the fact that he was always looking for love. So it was like, I think like he just didn't know in the what best platform to do that in.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, oh, let's eventually get this VH1 show going where like, you get this dating reality series going, which is like I say, looking at it now, it's like you'll go back and it's like, okay, yeah, I can't really believe I watched it. but
It was so
it was good in the moment. It was good in the moment.
Look, sometimes I will go back and watch those series, because it brings back a moment in time that I really appreciated. Like that was everybody's talking about it, so you can go to school and you having the conversation with everybody else, and it's like it's something so freaking new that everybody wants to be a part of it, and everybody has their take on who Flavor should be choosing, and oh, he should not have taken her out, he shouldn't have given this person the rose. All those conversations was great back then. And now look at reality TV shows these days. Yeah, you still have some kind of conversations, but there's not any real connectivity within it. It's like now people are modeling themselves after who they see on the TV rather than having the discussions about how they're behaving or what they're engaging with or what stuff is going on. It's like when like Love and Hip Hop is one show that I actually cannot even watch anymore. I used to love it when it was just plain on Love and Hip Hop. They're in New York. Jim Jones, his wife. I feel like her name is Carrie, but I might be completely off. I forgot her name, and I hate that. Just watching them, I connected with their relationship. I connected with the stories that was going on. Even if there was some dramas, it was not anything super crazy. And then I always remember that last episode before they even brought up Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Jim Jones' wife, she was so upset, and she was like, this is before the days of reunion shows. She was like, you all knew that I did not want to speak with this person. I think it was Yandy, but she was like, y'all knew that I didn't want to talk to her. Y'all knew I did not want her in my presence, and you all orchestrated this stuff to get this rise out of me, and I'm done with this shit. And I was like, oh shit. That's when reality TV actually shifted for me, and I started to realize, oh, they might really be, this is why they say it's scripted. It's not that their lives are being changed or they're saying certain words. Is that they're putting them in situations that's getting an emotional response out of people. And I'm like, is that actually a appropriate thing to do? Is that okay? Like, what is this?
And then when you start to realize, because it's like, even for like, because honestly, like I used to be a fan of like American Idol and like The Voice and stuff like that. But then it's kind of like moving forward, it's like it becomes to a point where I start to get upset, because it's like the winners are always the person that I really don't think can sing or, or anything like that. Or it's like, I'm really wondering, how did we get to this place? And just people, and I always used to feel like, because of the fact it's reality TV, like it's always a personal attack against you. Like, why are you not picking my choice?
Right.
And so it's like, it got to a point where I really just started becoming like really upset. But like you say, recognizing the fact that this is like, it's reality, but it's really not like true reality, because it is a big parts of it are scripted. There are certain things that are controlled by the producers behind the scenes, and things that need to be done to keep the network afloat. And to give a prime example of how the culture of network television, I mean not network, but reality television culture has shifted, is because it used to be like on competition shows like The Challenge, for instance, where you had certain incidents that happened in the past where somebody may have said something off kilter. Maybe it was a, racial slur or, homophobic slur or what have you. And, it's kind of like, oh, well, like it happened and, the moments passed. But now a lot of these networks, if these contestants or these players are getting out of pocket, if they are saying anything that is homophobic or, a racial slur or anything like that, they are not only being eliminated from competitions, they're being banned from like the network and things like that. And so, and I think that's because of the fact of the culture, that we live in now. It's kind of like, well, either you're going to hold them accountable or we're going to hold all of you accountable.
Right.
And so, and I do have to admit, a lot of those, things I obviously I do like, but it is to say like those kind of like off kilter moments that it's kind of like reminding you of like 90s comedy, where it's like the things that, would not fly today, they still are funny, funny in some sense. But yeah, it's really goes to show like just how the nature of reality TV show culture has expanded and it's changed. And now it's become one of those things where, I don't know, I think because of the fact like we've seen it, it's kind of like we've seen it all now, that it's like, it doesn't have that same feel good feeling. No. Like when it was first coming out, like you couldn't wait for, to see so-and-so with this. Because I think right after like Flavor Flav, I know like New York had her own show, Tiffany Pollard. And then I know everybody was gung-ho for like Ray J show with Ray J finding love and
that was a thing.
All that.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah, I mean like, but that was like the feel good, stuff. It was like, oh yeah, like you really was involved in this. And now it's even like a lot of these stars now who used to, who were in these reality productions, now that it's been years, they're coming out to even speak about certain things. Because I know, as much as, I hate to say it, if they ever decided to do a expose or candid conversation about Tyra Banks' show, America's Next Top Model, ooh, child.
I would love to. I would love to for all the documentaries to just start rolling out about treatments on a lot of these damn shows.
Like we need the tea.
I will be all up in it. Like give me the damn tea. This is my new reality TV show. It's your reality and your experiences. Tell me let's talk about the traumas of this all. Like let it out. Let it all the way out.
Exactly.
And like I will say in terms of respecting other people, reality TV definitely has had that improvement. But I will say in terms of how the quality of treatment of the people, I've just seen a depreciation throughout the years because now they're focusing on what's, selling. And the thing that is selling is drama. And in order to provoke this trauma, you have to trigger a lot of people. And if you constantly triggering people and making them have emotional responses just so that you can exploit them for the money, it's not worth it. It hurts me to see that happen to these people.
Right. And just to even give like a prime example, I'm a big YouTube person as well. So I always like watching YouTube reactions. And one of the YouTube reactors I watched, she was commenting on this. I think it was like a recent season of like the show Marriage Boot Camp, where these two women got into an argument. And I can't remember who the stars were. So I'm not going to comment on their names because I don't want to guess wrong. But she was saying that, I understand like the incident that happened, but like she was saying, it was fueled a little bit by the producers and their rules, because the producers had the rule, which you can understand about the fact when you sign a contract, obviously to be on reality TV, there are a lot of rules that you have to abide by.
The Holiloquy podcast focuses on the variability of sexual expression. When it comes to sexual expression, we often depend on pornography to illustrate how one must perform sexually. For those who have not learned this by now, the stuff you see in porn is not real. Pornography provides a singular perspective of sexual expression that is not often the reality we see during our own sexual encounters. The Soliloquy podcast is a conversation that takes you outside of the compressed box of what many know about sex. Some of the topics we discuss includes kinks, condom usage, status disclosure, and past sexual experiences. The Soliloquy podcast steps out on sexual norms and recognizes that the norm is not the only normal. Subscribe today and join the conversation.
To be on reality TV, there are a lot of rules that you have to abide by. Well, apparently the woman who was on the show, she got into it with the producers at first because they have the rule that they can't have their phones for so many hours, for the nature of production purposes while they're filming and stuff. But the woman was getting into an argument with production because she needed to call her children. And it's kind of like, it's almost like being treated like a child. Like, you're telling me that you're not going to allow me to have my phone, or I can't have my phone to call my children. Like, that's not going to happen. And so what it did was, I think it was mentioned how one of the producers made a mention about how, like this other couple was able to use their phone, for instance, knowing that was going to trigger like a debate, amongst the house, and particularly between these two women who didn't happen to like each other anyway. But it was just kind of like, damn, like that's just really petty. Like, I understand like production has their rules, but like if I'm telling you I need to call my child, I don't care who you, I really don't care who you are. You'll be the president of the network. Like, you're not going to stop me from calling my child if I need to call my child.
Like, I think back to for whoever has not seen the final season of Dear White People, fuck you, because I'm still going to spoil this. You haven't seen it?
I have. No.
Okay, cool. You better go back and see it anyways, because shame on you for not. It is what? It's May. Well, whenever this fucking airs, it is when it airs. But it is May, and you have not seen Dear White People's fourth season yet. Whatever, fuck you. But in the fourth season, they had the college thing, kind of like College Hill. And it was like Big Brother College Hill meet each other, and you have Candace on there. Is that her name? I think that's her name. No, Calandria. You have Calandria Coco on there. Coco. She's on there with Muffy. Is that her name? How am I remembering?
I can't remember what the other girls do.
But they're doing this show, and they're talking about how the producers are like making them go at each other. And I'm like, so this is what a lot of people experience when they're in these houses with these other people, and you have somebody who's literally pitting you against somebody, warping the reality of everything just so that they can get these emotional responses or these reactions of people. This is not okay. This is not healthy. This is not, what are we doing? Like, what happened to honoring the actual natural interactions that people have together?
Yeah. And even for the new like content creators, like Zeus Network, for instance, like with the whole baddies, which if you don't know is like a reboot. It's not like a reboot, but it's like where are they now and coming into like a new space of like Bad Girls Club. And then now they actually have Natalie Nunn, who is, one of the prominent Bad Girls Club members. She actually executive produced the Bad Boys Club that is actually airing, that, people consistently talk about. And it's like, the episodes are like so drawn out and so boring, because it's like, if you take the fighting out of the show, you really don't have anything. Like, a lot of people are commenting about the fact, like, you never really see them outside of the house, except for maybe when they're inside the studio recording, when they were recording like the theme song or whatever. But it's like, all of this compacted drama just takes place inside the house. So you really don't get to see them doing anything too much. But I do agree with one of my reactors, how she said that Zeus is good about putting together good trailers to have you want to watch a show, because their trailers for their shows, when they're like, promoting their content, they know how to promote content and get you like, oh, this is really about to be something. And really, when you watch it, it's really not. It's a lot of, they do a very good job at editing. Do a very good job at editing. And it's kind of like with a lot of these shows, if you took away, like the fighting elements and things like that. And like people say, yeah, we like good drama. Yeah, of course we tune in for good drama, but that's not all that I want to see. I want to see these heart-to-heart conversations. I want to see people making progress in their lives, kind of doing this and doing that. And that's kind of even why I've fallen off a bit, even though I still tune in, why I've kind of fallen off a little bit with growing up hip hop. Because it's like the nature course of both of these growing up hip hop Atlanta and the regular growing up hip hop, it's like it was supposed to showcase the next generation, doing their thing in music and in fashion and in culture with trying to make a name for themselves and stepping out of the limelight of, like their parents who came before them. But a lot of times now, if you watch growing up hip hop, it's really just centered on drama, these arguments that happen back and forth and things like that. And like I say, we all love a little bit of drama. That's why we kind of tune in. But that's not all that I want to see. If I'm watching a show like Growing Up Hip Hop, I want to see these people on their grind, getting into that studio, making these connections, facilitating their careers and things like that. Like those are the things that I love to see, about a show like that. And yeah, I just think that a lot of these reality shows right now, they get so bogged down in wanting to not just the drama, but then create manufactured drama as well.
Right.
It's like, because then when you not ever notice, like when you're watching something and you realize, like, where the hell did this argument come from?
All the time.
Like, really?
All the time.
Or it's like I say, even with Zeus, like this whole big blow up that just happened on like the Bad Boys Club, where you got people's friends fighting the house guests and stuff like that. And really, when you think about it, it was all because of a bed of a room. Like when you really stop to think about where these arguments stem from, it's not because somebody didn't talked about your mama. It's not because somebody came for your family or your children. It's because of beds in a room.
I get that because this is not. I get the argument in terms of context for another show. For that, I feel like it's just ridiculous. It's just something stupid. But because I will say this is going to go back to why I brought up that other show, but I will say the thing that is lacking now is that back then we had narrative, we had storytelling, and now it's just drama. And drama is just exciting. Like I would say exciting in a bad way. It's like it's triggering. If you have to be focused on so much drama, you become a drama junkie, and then you just want to feed on that all the time, so that when you get anything outside of that, you're not satisfied because you're lacking in that trigger response. You're lacking in that drama. So you want to continue to feed on that energy. Now, back to the narrative thing, it's like, and also the bed. So I think back to Charm School. I love that show so much, and I still rewatch it every now and again now because it had narrative. It also had drama. It had storytelling. It had development. It had a lot of things. You even got kicked off, wherever the case may be. It was still all those factors within what a lot of people like in reality TV, but you had so much actual realness with it too. It wasn't about pitting people against each other. It was people, if they had issues, they had issues. Right. But it's like learning how the reason why Safari, how we pronounce her name, the reason why she got into that fight, the first episode of Flavor of Love season 3, if I'm not mistaken, it might have been season 2 or 3. The reason why she got in that fight is because over that bed is because how she was brought up. Yeah, because she had a fear of losing. She had a lot of trauma from her background that when you take my stuff, take my bed, I'm going to fight for it because that's what I had to do throughout my life. You get full circle moments in those type of reality TV shows that you don't get because we're just fighting over bed because we just a bunch of niggas. That's our bunch of men, and we just want to be brutish and just fight over a position of the bed. You don't get that when you watch a lot of TV shows or reality TV shows these days. I will say like Mob Wives. I love that because it even had narrative to it. And then for something today, I like to watch The Circle because it has development. You have twists and turns, it has the drama, but you still get to look at people and find personas on that show that you connect with, that you want to see win. Or you see that one person who's like a catfish throughout the show. You're just like, you know what? I'm fucking with your strategy. I love what you're doing. I hope you win. I hope you catfish all the way to the fucking end. I cannot. I love to see it. You better do that shit.
And that's why I love, circling my mind around, different types of reality shows as well. Like, Naked and Afraid is not just about people just being naked, in the wilderness or, wherever they're being dropped off. It's about true survival skills, putting their survival skills, to the test. So it follows, a narrative. And then now the Naked and Afraid XL, which follows, people for 40 and 60 days in a, remote location. So like you say, when there's a narrative to follow, regardless if you agree, disagree, or whatever about what the outcome is, you can follow a story because you can follow people's motivations, for doing what it is that they do. And, when when you see people learning life lessons, things that, you can take away, as well, it makes it so that's where the reality aspect of it comes in. And like you say, it doesn't become just about, I didn't just watch the whole season of this and it was just about drama.
Right. And that's it. And so what are your feelings as it relates to the reunion shows?
I think a lot of times the reunion shows, if there's any time that the producers have a hand, it's definitely in the reunion shows, because they have to, I think reunion shows are often a very delicate balance, because one, you have to get the right host, because you have to get the host that's going to ask the burning questions. Like, you have probably seen reunion shows where it's like, they barely touch on like the things that, we really want to know. Like, reunion shows are not really just like, are not supposed to be just like a recap of the season. Like, I didn't watch the season. I know what happened. Like, I want to know those nitty gritty things, those things that, we may not have seen on camera, and things like that. So one, I think that depending on the type of show, reunions can be, a good chance to come to some reconciliation, for, cast members, for whatever that process looks like. It can also be a means to start some new drama, because as we know, a lot of times with reality stars, they take a lot of their beefs and their arguments onto Twitter and to other social media platforms that they wouldn't necessarily have the goals to do in person. So now when they show up to the reunion, it's it's like it's one of those things that's on site. So yeah, it just really depends on what reality show it is, but reunions can definitely be hit and miss. I have seen some very good reunion specials, and I've seen some really like less than stellar ones where it's like, okay, all we did was just recapped what the season was. Like, what was the purpose of this?
Yeah, I don't like a recap. I want to really have discussions about everything. Like, I would say, like, let's take The Circle. Their reunion is like their last episode where you get to see who won and whatnot. It's not, they recap the show and they're just like having conversations about everything. I'm like, I don't care about that now. I just want to like see who the fuck won. I'm going to watch all this because y'all be having some interesting conversations, but I just want to know who's won. And then there's like, Love is Blind, because that's the most recent reunion show I actually watched, and I'm like, okay, I want to see the aftermath of these conversations. How's the relationship going? Are y'all still together? Are y'all not together? Has anything reconnected? If you did not marry this person, I want to know what's happening there, what's going on. I've invested all this time falling for you all and loving your relationships and also hating some of your relationships. I just want to know what the fuck is going on. Exactly. Let's talk about it. Exactly. And then there's some shows that I just wish they would have the fucking reunion, like Fuckboy Island on HBO. I want to know what the fuck happened after we got off this damn island. Like, What are we doing? Or what's the other one? The Too Hot to Handle. I don't think that last season had an actual reunion. What the fuck is going on? Even though I just want to know if y'all still dating or not. Did the experiment work or not? Like,
no. Right. Yeah. But I just like, look, we just need some answers.
That's it. I don't really care about the reality side of y'all's life. I just want to know if y'all are still together. But these other shows that I have invested time in, like most definitely if it's like if when I was watching like Love and Hip Hop ATL, or even Basketball Wives. I love the Basketball Wives reunions because those were a little bit more laid back. It might have a little bit of tension, but they actually had conversations about it.
Right.
They talked about what was going on in the show, how they're feeling in that moment, watching the episodes play out, all of that.
Yeah, and also I think that that's also a keen part about, the reunions is because at that point they've gotten a chance to actually see the season. And so, so it's like sometimes, the arguments that stem and things like that, where you think it's coming from one source, that may not be true, or, like they can see themselves like, oh, maybe I took this a little bit out of context, or maybe this wasn't how, this was perceived, or, things like that. And then, sometimes it is, based on how the episode plays, because sometimes the editing, for some things makes it seem like, oh, okay, but you didn't really see the follow-up to what happened, after that. And that's why, reality TV, and I really try to have compassion when seeing people, especially like for, like shows like Love is Blind or, Married at First Sight and things like that, because when you're trying to deal with a relationship or a budding relationship, you are not going to be saying all the right things at the right moment, at the right time and things like that. You going to say some things that are off kilter and things like that. So I really don't take, one or two incidents as to say like, oh, I really just don't like that person. That could have just been a moment, And so and the problem I think with reality TV is like the only part that you create a whole narrative of that person based off of what you see. And sometimes it is valid. Like, basically this past season of Married at First Sight, this one contestant, I'm pretty sure everybody knows who I'm talking about, Alyssa. She has this kind of narcissistic thing where it's like she didn't want to give her husband a chance, from the first time she looked at him. And then she wants to play the victim this entire season until they got divorced very early into the process. But even her at the reunion, she's just saying, oh, but I'm really a good person. And, just things like that. And people just looking like at her like, girl, really? Like, we saw the nature of what you did. And in those kind of instances, she did own up to the fact that, yes, she didn't handle things in the best light. But it's kind of like, it's way too past late for that. Because it's like, when you show your true ass, it's like, there is nothing to be rectified about it. It's not just having a moment where, you were a little less graceful than, than what you usually are. No, you showed who you are. So don't try to, backpedal about that.
And I like how you mentioned how we can create our own stories about certain people on these reality TV shows. Like, oh my gosh, young, famous and African. I love that so much. I need that season 2 to come out. And that's another show. If we have a motherfucking reunion, let me know about the shit because I want to see it. I haven't been on Netflix in like a month and a half, but I've seen that entire season twice. But I will say when I was first watching it, I'm like, okay, this Connie chick, she is rubbing me the wrong way. What the hell are you doing, girl? You being messy. By episode 3, I'm like, you know what? I'm feeling this Connie chick. She is telling some truth and she's being real honest. Oh, she's talking about going to therapy. Oh my God. Oh, she's been to therapy. Oh, Connie is not as messy as I thought she was. By the end of it, I'm like, you know what? I'm on Connie's side on a lot of shit. I don't care what the fuck y'all think is going on, but I'm with Connie. Like sis is giving me life. And when I rewatched the season, I agreed with a lot of the things that she said. And even when it came to the things that they edited to make give a negative skew of her, I'm like, okay, I can see what you were saying in this moment in a little bit more context. Like when she was like, oh, when you come up to somebody and you so openly like not you just give a lot of yourself. You just start telling people all about your personal business within 2 minutes of meeting them. And she was like, oh, when you do that, I got you. And when I first saw that, I was like, okay, she sounds like she's a manipulator. But no, she when you watch the show and you look at that comment again, it's like, oh, she recognized that this person might be damaged in some way, and she knows that I have you in the sense that I can probably help you deal with whatever emotional shit you got going on.
Yeah.
So,
and I also think that we also as viewers have to take accountability and responsibility in being complicit for the drama that does happen, because like they say, drama sells, but the only reason why it sells is because we tune into it. So I'm not going to say that we have to dismiss with the drama, but we also have to make sure that we're promoting shows and we're watching shows that are not also about the drama. Like, to give you a prime example, the VH1 show My Celebrity Dream Wedding. I love that show. I'm hoping that they come back for like a second season, because to follow three Black celebrity stylists in Atlanta, they're great at what they do. Yeah, they have that friendly competition with each other, but it's really about the client and making sure that they pull off the client's their dream wedding as best as they can. So seeing people of color doing in their profession, doing their business aspects, and even this new show that I'm happening to watch that's centering on Black matchmakers and their whole businesses and stuff like that. Yeah, it's about the drama. Yeah, they have drama. Yeah, of course, but it's really about them in their professional lives as well and stuff like that. And I really don't feel like those shows get promoted as much as like, say, like your Basketball Wives or your Love and Hip Hop and things like that, because drama does sell. I mean, it does sell, and it sells for a reason. But I just want us moving into the future to also make sure that we're highly watching and promoting the shows that are not featuring drama 24/7, as to say, like, yeah, we like a great range of diverse content. So it's to say, like, oh, when I turn on my TV, like, this is not the only type of show that I watch. I can watch something that is a little bit more drama, but I can also watch something that has a little bit more substance to it.
Yes. I need you to just like make a whole list of everything that you be watching, because I swear, if there was a curator of Black shows, that is you. Like, how the hell you keep following? Is it all on freeform?
I don't know. But it's like, but the thing is like with me, it's like I consider myself, because the thing is like I always like have this delineation in my mind, because I'm not a, Housewives, watcher. I'm not a Basketball Wives watcher or anything like that. But I do love to like watch my little like relationship reality shows and, things like that. And like I say, I like to watch my off-kilter things, like Naked and Afraid, and like I say, My Celebrity Dream Wedding, and, things like that. But I really enjoy seeing people of color being put into positions and being seen in ways, and hearing people's stories, because one of the matchmakers on the Matchmaker series, we just learned about her struggles in episode 2 about her being a single mom, having to raise her family on her own, and and things like that. So you're not just getting a glimpse into people's professionalism and how they promote their their professional lives, but also into their personal lives and struggles that people have dealt with. And you never know, something that somebody says in these reality shows could very much resonate with you, and especially for people of color, it's good to see things that are mirrored. And that's why I really love the concept of the show Put a Ring on It, because having these 3 couples who are all very different, but they are all facing that same aspect of their relationships. They refuse to move forward, but they don't want to go backwards. So the whole nature of the show is trying to unpack the nature of, at the end of this experiment, will they go their separate ways or will they put a ring on it? And the thing is, even if you don't agree with the whole nature of, oh, well, the only way to find that out is if looking at if the grass is greener on the other side. So each week, all of them have their own individual dates with other people to see about things and patterns that they may or may not be getting in their own relationship. But even taking that aspect out of it, even if you don't like the premise or the nature of the show, I'm pretty sure that there have been a lot of couples out there that have been in some similar circumstances where they're in a situation or a relationship where you don't know what are we doing? You know, we're asking that question, what are we doing? Like, we're not progressing forward. We refuse to go backwards. So it's like, we just stuck in neutral. Like, what are we doing? You know, so it's like when you see those kind of things happen and you get to see these vulnerable moments with these people, especially, like I say, people of color on, you know, reality television, like, even though you know that this is like cameras and things like that, something that is going on with these couples or individuals or whatever is something that resonates, you know, with you in some form or fashion, no matter if it's something you've gone through or you've seen a friend go through and, you know, things like that. So I've even highly promoted for people in relationships, hey, why don't you watch, you know, Ready to Love or, you know, put a ring on it? Because even though you may not necessarily be in this type of situation, the things that you can learn, you know, from watching, you know, other people's lives kind of play out can be a benefit to you, and it can spur conversations that you never thought that you would have to have.
Exactly.
You know,
like those kind of shows are the ones that I love to watch, and the reason why is because it has the reality of the reality TV show. You have those moments that do connect with you on an emotional level. You do get a glimpse of what is their lives, their everything in those moments. And I hate that because we are so focused on the scripting to sell, we're not doing the sell the story kind of thing. And I would love to see a lot more reality shows that do dive into the humanity of us all, that dive into the fact that you can mess up in a relationship and heal from it. Because when people are watching these shows and they think about who they are, their identities and whatnot, and they see this person is reflecting me, so I should be like them. And you don't see that diversity of, you can be a hurt individual, you can be a person that's healing from trauma, you can be somebody who's had a very traumatic experience in your relationship and grow from it. You can be at those crossroads within your relationship and talk those things through with somebody and grow from those.
exactly.
We don't get that often.
Exactly.
And to know that those exist in Black spaces is beautiful to me.
Exactly. And it's not to even discount, because even with, you know, people of color being showcased, there is still a lot of discrimination that, you know, you can see that, you know, is happening. Because like I say, I'm a big fan of the show Ready to Love that's hosted by nephew Tommy on OWN. And one of the great aspects about the show is that I love that it showcases like singles who are in their 30s and up, you know, and so you get to see your diverse array of just beautiful Black and brownness, you know, across the screen, you know. But one of the things that fans brought up with the show is that, you know, it's kind of like they do fall into the nature of that whole typecasting, you know, type thing, where especially in regards to women and policing women's bodies, where you will see very voluptuous, you know, very beautiful women, but there's a keen difference between being thick or being voluptuous versus being plus size. And a pattern that has been established with the show is that you will get like one or two plus size women, but they get almost kind of like singled out or eliminated early because you don't have men who are necessarily attracted to plus size women. You know, so, you know, we do still deal with the nature of body discrimination and things like that that do still come up, you know, with even with the shows that, you know, we do happen to love. But like you say, you know, it's something that, you know, value lessons that, you know, I think that you can take away, you know, just depending on, you know, what your taste for reality, you know, taste for reality is. And I think that that's maybe one of the reasons why, because I'm a big fan of love. I love love.
Mhm.
So I think that's why I gravitate towards, like the love, centered kind of shows. But yeah, it's always something that, reality TV is actually, it's therapy in a way.
Mm,
It's therapy in a way.
that's a word. So on that note, do you have any lasting comments, words, or anything that you would like to share with the audience?
Ooh, just since we've been, obviously discussing the nature of, reality television, like I say, I just want to reiterate again, let's diversify, our reality show pickings. I hear a lot of people, they always talk about love and hip hop and, the Real Housewives, but definitely look into other, not so publicized, kind of reality shows. So you can have a bit of a variety. If you're a competition person, watch some competition reality shows.
Mm.
If you happen to be a love centered, kind of reality show watcher, get into, some other ones. Like I say, if you're into things like on VH1, My Celebrity Dream Wedding, and, other, reality shows, and let's get them up in numbers. So, the networks feel like, oh, this has a, quite a bit of a fan base. So let's not cancel them or, yank them off the air. So that way we're not just left with the Housewives or, the Basketball Wives or Love and Hip Hop, so let's just, as much as we love our reality television, let's also diversify our TV show pickings.
Well, Tyrell, again, thank you so much for being you and just being amazing and coming on this podcast. I appreciate you a lot.
I love being here.
For the audience, thank you all so much for listening to the Holiloquy podcast, where we step out and talk about sexuality. Just in case no one else told you this today, you are beautiful. You are worthy of happiness and joy. You are enough and then some. You may not live up to the expectations of others, but that is okay. You are only required to walk in your own shoes. May each day you live lead you towards abundance. With that said, love you all and see you next episode. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Holiloquy podcast, where we step out and speak on sexuality. You can subscribe to the podcast through your favorite podcasting app and find us on the web at www.holiloquy.com. That's www.HEAUXLILOQUY.com. Share the podcast with your friends and join the conversation.